Our next speaker for an update is Rob Callender. You've heard a little bit from him already, but he's going to give you a marketing update, and he's also going to be talking about the Giving Tuesday campaign. So Rob, why don't you share that with us?
Okay, so hopefully I will make it a little bit further through this time. Indulgences in advance if my voice gives out again, but here we go. So people who have been on these calls before may know that I've come up with some, I've got a background in marketing and market research, and I firmly believe that in order to communicate to your audience, you have to know who they are and what motivates them. So I'm going to try something. I don't know if it'll work. Bear with me. This is an example of a flyer that we have been distributing. Mostly they've been in Spanish so far, but this is an example of a family focus message. In addition to the job, career, and advancement message that we have, we also have one that focuses on, laying a solid foundation for your family and making sure you can communicate with your kids' teachers and things like that. So that's one example of something that we've been doing. You'll see here in the Japanese one that I'm going to put in, I think it's the Summerwind Apartments. Is that I got a suggestion of a place that we could put the Japanese messaging now that we've gotten a decent uptake with the Spanish language. One thing I want you to notice is that we have it in dual languages, so nobody's ever it widens the target. And at one point in the not too distant past, I thought that this was probably too cluttered, and I was going to make it a single language, the language that we're trying to target, so in this case Japanese. One thing I learned with the help of Toberman when we visited there was that dual language really seems to work in a way that I don't quite understand. We had a visitor to our table that came through, and I was showing them the flyers and asking if they'd like to take any materials with them, and she was clearly a Spanish speaker, and she was speaking to someone who was clearly a Spanish speaker, and they were speaking in Spanish, but they were pointing at the English side. And we got a great deal of interest from them. I think maybe Charles will correct me on this if I'm wrong, but we may have actually heard back from them again. So it's just a really interesting thing. It shows that nothing beats a little bit of field research to understand your audience. So anyway, we've got those that are being distributed in churches and community centers, in laundromats. I would be thrilled if anybody had any ideas for places to put these things. We've got them in Spanish, we've got them in Japanese, we've got them in Korean. There was discussion at one point about maybe doing Vietnamese. I don't know that we have anybody who's fluent enough in Vietnamese to translate off of Google Translate, because sometimes what you get off of there can be a little bit wonky. Also open to other languages if there's a market out there. Let's see, in terms of successes, since we started this initiative, I think somebody mentioned that we've got our message on the City of Torrance's digital signage. That's in 3 locations. Originally, they had asked for a start date and an end date, and I wanted to capture people out and about at the parks as things were reopening for the 4th of July. So I think we started at late June, and I was driving by one of them within the last couple of weeks, and I believe that they may still be going. So knock on wood, I'm not going to tell them to stop. We've also had meetings with the YMCA. That started with me trying to see if I could get a message on their sign, since they've got a digital sign as well, and we've worked with them in the past. That led to a conversation where both sides were very eager to get back on premises. Unfortunately, whatever wave of COVID we're in right now means that they're not doing anything on site. They have been more optimistic before this wave. I talked to Kristen Ishida, I think yesterday, Thursday or Friday. I talked to her when I was at the Y, And, she was very excited about the prospect of working with us when they could. She said that they would be happy to provide organizational vouch for our website, which I think would be helpful, for our Giving Tuesday campaign, which I'll talk about in a minute. I think it would be good that when we drive people to our website, they'll see, other institutions, community institutions that they're used to, vouching for us. A lot has been said about Toberman already, so I'll skip past that. Vicki Colbert was a communications person for the organization last year. She left to focus more specifically on her job at the Boys and Girls Club. She's been very generous in helping us spread the word. They recently distributed 525 food boxes, I think, and they allowed us to put our flyers in each. So we're very grateful for that. I do see there's a message. Hold on one second. Oh, good.
Yeah,
So we've got a Vietnamese, a fluent Japanese or Vietnamese person.
Yeah, my best friend is, like her parents were born in Vietnam, so she speaks Vietnamese. So yeah, if you send that to me at the treasury email, I'm happy to ask her to translate. It should take her 5 minutes.
Perfect, thank you. In more conventional marketing news, there was talk about, how much we missed Penny Saver. And, that was obviously before I joined, but I've heard that we had such a great response whenever we put out an ad in Penny Saver. And, we've been trying to figure out how to recreate that. And so I found a free circular auto and parts news, which felt like the subject material might be kind of in the target of the people we're trying to reach. And so I reached out to them. They're designing an ad for us. It's $90 a month to run a business card size ad, which seems reasonable considering, how we hope that we'll be able to reach folks in our target. And recently, as I said, I think I mentioned earlier, Charles Kraus had found a Spanish language classified newspaper. He shared that information with me. I called them. It turns out that Zone 6 is pretty much an exact overlay of our service area, with the possible exception of it doesn't include Lawndale and Hawthorne, but it goes to Wilmington, San Pedro, Torrance, all of the areas that we'd really like to hit. Now, they are a little bit more expensive. It's $91 a week, and they have a 1-month minimum. I'm waiting for an email from them with a little bit more specifics. I'd like to know what their circulation is, because it's 4 times as expensive as the auto and part news, but more to come on that. And then finally, we're about to kick off a Giving Tuesday initiative. It should be in the newsletter, it should be on the website, and it will definitely be in social media. Oh, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the work of Lennox Wisely, who has been associated with us for about a year, maybe more. She actually worked on our last Giving Tuesday initiative. She has taken over our social media accounts, and she is trying to grow them and increase engagement, and she's doing just a phenomenal job. So we'll certainly make use of her when we drill into the Giving Tuesday initiative. Right now, we're trying to we're discussing highlighting 4 different things. Donation matching from Facebook and Google, which is something that could be very lucrative, something that people will inherently understand. It is time limited. You have to get in pretty close to the time that it launches, or those benefits will sundown. We're thinking about if we can figure out how to make a countdown clock to kind of gamify it, to make people, eager to participate, eager to win this challenge, that we can get double their money for them. We've got something. Lainey, did you see the email that I sent yesterday?
Yes.
Are you outraged by using your name in it?
No, not outraged.
Okay. Well, this isn't final, but can I foreshadow it with the sort of note that it may not make it through to the final?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to do something called Quirks Perks. Lainey said that her family donates a lot of money to the organization every year, and that she should consider, or that member should consider her as a matching grant. So she'll match whatever we get up to a certain amount. So that's an initiative we're looking at. Name subject to change. We're looking at getting rid of some of the books that we have in the library, since we're sort of trying to streamline and slim down. It was Aaron that had a really clever idea of trying to monetize that in some way. So we're looking at some kind of a gift giveaway, a book giveaway, which we may try to wrap into Giving Tuesday. And then Lainey came up with the idea of potentially trying to scale out. We've got one ad on the website right now. I think it's a law firm. I don't know exactly, it may be immigration, I'm not entirely sure, but Lainey thought maybe that there was an opportunity to scale that. So maybe we advertise the possibility of like a class of donors called Literacy Leaders, or the SLBC Honor Roll, where we have dedicated space on the website or maybe even the newsletters to honor them. So that feels like probably drinking from a fire hose. That's what I've got. I'm certainly open to any questions, since I've probably ran through that pretty quickly.
What can tutors do to maximize the impact of recruitment? What's our best return on investment if they were to spend an hour helping recruit?
Yeah, well, so the thing is that tutors are in a really special position, because you have a better idea, frankly, than I do, as somebody who is not necessarily especially equipped to tutor, to know what your students are asking for. You know what their needs and motivations are, and if you see them more than once, once is happenstance, twice is a coincidence, three times is a trend. If you see something over and over again, first, it'd probably be good to tell me about it, but second, that should give you a good idea of where these folks are coming from and where we can find more of them. I did a market sizing when I first came on board that showed that because there's about a 50% rate of low literacy in Los Angeles County, and our focus area is a specific population, there are 400,000 people that could benefit from our services, but we don't know who they are, and they don't necessarily know that they need us. So anything that you can do to help surface where we could find folks to tutor is obviously incredibly helpful.
Yeah, I would say that as far as referrals go, what we're seeing in the applications, I would guess, I haven't done the math, but I'm pulling this out of the air a bit, but I would think maybe close to 90% of the referrals are word of mouth. The student has heard from a friend or family about us. So as a tutor, what you could do is just let your students know that they need to tell their friends and family about us. Yeah,
that's a great it's a great note. Just spread the word. I mean, obviously, if they keep coming back, we're doing something right. So encourage them to share the wealth with their friends and family.
That would, if I can interject, that would also apply to our Literacy for English Speakers program, to have the tutors emphasize with their students, if they could pass on the information, that our services are available to anyone that they may know that they might want to refer to us. I know, especially for literacy, for LES students, that it's a sensitive topic because of their situation, but word of mouth through them can also serve, can also add to the growth of our LES program as well. And I'm not sure, I know Marianne is still with us, so we were still trying to work with Maxine and trying to tackle what kind of promotional material I think we could use in order to grow the student population for our LES program. And I'm not sure, Rob can probably add to that. We're not sure where we are yet with that, or what would be the key component, or what we could use in order to get the word out for literacy to literacy students, that they can use our services. So
so from my perspective, and then I'd like to hear from Marianne, but from my perspective, what we've got planning to run in the Auto and Parts News is a dual language. But unlike the flyer that you saw, because it's designed for an 8 by 10 piece of paper, this can't have nearly the density or the nuance. So, we've got something in English and Spanish that is just, blindingly straightforward. It emphasizes the word free and, English, and learn, read, write, speak. Hopefully, because it is so simple, it's something that might appeal to LES students as well, because one has to presume you learn from a fairly early age what free is, and English is fairly distinctive. We're not bogging it down with a lot of extraneous information. So I'm hopeful that it reaches both ESL and LES with that. But Marianne, if you have any input to offer.
I'd just say that's a great idea. Keeping it simple is really a good idea. Just having the words that you need and then a contact. That's excellent.
Okay, good. Okay. And I have been working with Maxine, and more to come on that front.
Okay, good.
One thing on the recruitment for LES, I just hopped into Facebook and I looked at dyslexic organizations that serve the community in Los Angeles. And I didn't get any response, but I'm going to keep trying, and just, if I throw out 10 things into social media, or reaching out to various groups like the Retired English Teachers of California, those who are drawing retirement as teachers.
Is that a thing? Is that a group?
The what?
Is that a group? Is that a thing that exists?
Yeah, Retired Teachers of California on Facebook is like, I don't know, it's like 220,000 members or something. If I ever scored some webcam time, like on one of their webinars, I would be really, really excited. But to date, I haven't had any response. But if you just go into Facebook and you type like English Teachers Association California or whatever, I have bookmarked a lot of those, but I don't necessarily have time to go through all of them every weekend. So I'll just throw things out when I do have time. But if we have if we have someone come on that's a go-getter with social media skills or something like that, we can just point them in those directions.
Okay, that's great. Does anybody have any other questions for me? Any tips, hints?
I'm sure there will be some coming up. Thanks so much, Rob, for sharing all of this. And it looks like great things are happening.